It's no secret to anyone that the state of AAA gaming over the last couple of years has become more bland and predictable as time goes on. Companies get larger, production budgets get bigger, fan bases grow, and yet the games don't seem to be improving in the same way. Developers simply aren't taking the same level of risks that they used to in the heyday of gaming. And why should they? Why should they innovate and create a unique product when they know what sells so well? Is there anything that companies can do to course correct? Well, it seems like Nintendo is trying to figure that out. Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Hardlight Network. I know I'm not the only gamer who thinks that the AAA industry and all of its biggest hitters have gotten a little bit stale, dried out, and kind of bland over the last few years. For as much as production and game prices have risen and the size of development teams have grown, it honestly doesn't feel like the quality of the industry has increased proportionately. To tell you the truth, sometimes it feels like these bloated, massive corporations are a little captured by their audience. To tell you the truth, I think a bigger factor than simple complacency are the competing interests of shareholders as well as certain parts of the fan base who simply want the same regurgitated slop every year. It seems like in some way, Nintendo sees the problem, but they haven't found the proper solution. At least, not one that they're willing to implement. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what Nintendo needs to do to address the problems facing their company. Unfortunately, the solution is not going to be popular or easy. But before we get into it today, guys, do me a solid and hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content that I've got coming up for you guys in the future, and also take to the comment section down below with your thoughts on this issue. Also, if you want to support this channel further, there are super thanks and memberships options down below. Feel free to join the channel today for access to exclusive content and perks that you can't get anywhere else. But without any further ado, let's get into today's article. And our reading today comes to us from IGN.com and is entitled, "Nintendo Says Game Development Risks Increasing Due to Higher Game Prices and Rising Production Costs. Suggests shorter development periods as one solution." Nintendo has said that it will limit the amount of time spent developing some game projects as one solution to the increasing risks of game production as it enters its Switch 2 era. Growing development budgets driven by ever larger projects and higher fidelity games, as well as the increased cost of products to consumers, have meant that the quote, high-risk business of making games was only becoming riskier. Nintendo boss Shuntaro Furukawa recently told investors. In response, Furukawa said Nintendo was attempting to develop some game software on shorter timelines as a potential method of addressing this. As part of a newly translated Nintendo investor Q&A, the company's president acknowledged that projects which required more time and resources were increasing game development budgets. And while offsetting these higher costs with higher prices to consumers was one solution, this could also limit the number of people willing and able to pay for them. Quote, "Recent game software development has become larger in scale and longer in duration, resulting in higher development costs," Furukawa acknowledged. "The game business has always been a high-risk business, and we recognize that rising development costs are increasing that risk." Nintendo Switch 2 launched alongside the company's first ever $80 game, Mario Kart World, a generation after the company began pricing some of its bigger budget titles, such as The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, at $70. In response, Nintendo previously said that the value proposition of Mario Kart World justified its price tag, and was not a new benchmark for all of its titles. Instead, Nintendo said that the company would offer variable pricing, as seen with the $10 minigame collection Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, and the upcoming blockbuster Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is $70. Still, Furukawa has now said that Nintendo is investigating ways to continue providing its usual standard of novelty that fans have come to expect, with the need to ensure its game budgets don't spiral out of control and game prices remain affordable to as many players as possible. Quote, "Our development teams are devising various ways to maintain our traditional approach to creating games amidst the increasing scale and length of development," Furukawa continued. "We believe it is important to make necessary investments for more efficient development. It's here that the idea of creating games with faster development cycles comes in. The suggestion that Nintendo can be more economical by potentially limiting a project's scope or scale while still providing a satisfying experience. We also believe it is possible to develop game software with shorter development periods that still offer consumers a sense of novelty," Furukawa concluded, without providing an example of this. "We see this as one potential solution to the concern about rising development costs and software prices, and we will explore it from various angles within the company." Nintendo previously received criticism from fans pricing Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Edition at $10, rather than offering it as a free Wii Sports-style pack-in. The company has also charged a $10 fee for its upgrades to both The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and will require Super Mario Party Jamboree owners pay $20 to upgrade the game's Switch 2 version with new modes. At the end of the day, though, cracking the whip harder and making your employees work faster to produce a product is not going to increase either the quality of the games or decrease their shelf prices. The telltale sign that these, quote, solutions are not meant to increase the customer satisfaction rating is that the Q&A is directed at investors and not actually the people buying and playing the games. Only a few things can reasonably come out of shortening the production cycle of a modern game. Either you will sacrifice the overall quality of the game by trying to rush it out and meet deadlines, or you will get less game for the same price. Because we all know that the prices are never going back down. And the, quote, value proposition argument just proves that fact in spades. If Nintendo can justify an $80 price tag because they simply believe that the game is just that fun, why wouldn't they put a price tag that's unreasonable on every other title they produce? As the article pointed out, they charged $10 for a minigame collection that would have been free 3 console generations ago. Is it really variable pricing when the variables are between $70 and $80? Unfortunately, the solution to this problem isn't reduced production times, and it certainly isn't lying to your customer base about what they're actually getting for their money. No, unfortunately, the real solution to the company's problems is downsizing. No company wants to do it, and no employees want it to happen. But the only way to increase the quality and therefore the propositional value of your games is to cut the people who are filling unnecessary positions. Nintendo's Entertainment Planning and Development Division has over 800 employees divided amongst 10 different production groups. To put that into context, the core development team for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, one of Nintendo's most beloved titles to this very day, was around 100 people. And while it's absolutely true that the scope and development of these titles, as well as the technology and graphical fidelity, has expanded exponentially, there's no reason why a smaller, more focused team can't produce an even better project than these massive, bloated teams can. When The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask was produced, it was put under a similar time crunch that they're talking about doing for future titles going forward. And by the end of the year-long production for this game, every employee that worked on it was hating life. Is it possible that the production team could dig deep and produce another gem like Majora's Mask given a tighter deadline? Sure, anything's possible. But if you expand that to multiple projects and make that the standard for games going forward, I guarantee it will result in a decline in quality for every game here on out, even the ones that they take their time with. But like I said, regardless of the quality of the final product, there's no way that it will actually meaningfully decrease the price of these titles. If anything, Nintendo will put a time crunch on their employees, they'll produce half a game, and then they'll slap a $60 or $70 price tag on it and call it a day. And honestly, my argument about smaller teams has already been proven numerous times in the industry. I've said it before in other videos, but my favorite game as of yet is Kenshi, which was developed by a single person. Meeside, which was a blowout success, was developed by 2 people. A more recent example of mainstream near AAA success is Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which had a core team of around 30 people. With examples like these and many more that we can point to across the indie and mainstream development scene, we clearly do not need massive teams to produce quality games that people are willing to pay money for. At the end of the day, the biggest developers, Nintendo most of all, has been relying more on their brand name and exposure to sell copies of games than they have been the actual quality of their titles. But that's going to do it for this video today, guys. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched up to this point. If you liked the video, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe before heading out so you don't miss out on any of the content that I've got coming up for you guys in the future. Also, take to the comments section down below and let me know your thoughts. When companies begin to rely more on their relationship with investors rather than their customers, we begin to see quote-unquote solutions like the one Nintendo has talked about here today. It doesn't benefit us if Nintendo pushes out games faster if the quality suffers, but it certainly benefits the investors if they get a quicker turnaround on their investment. Perhaps the real reason why these companies have become so hostile to their customers and so comfortable making these types of decisions is because the people actually signing their checks don't really have much to do with the finished product at all. It seems clear that share prices and not the quality of these games is what's really determining the quote propositional value of these titles. But I've got many more hot takes where this one came from, so as always, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and until next time, love you guys, safe travels.